Hey guys, welcome back to Ballistic Performance. Today we have a comparison we're going to make. We have a 45 ACP and we have a 9mm. Now we all know that the power between these two calibers is significantly different. But maybe you're on the fence as to which to buy. And maybe if we could close that power gap, it might influence your decision a little bit. So some of the factors that go into this are that in a 1911 style, usually you have a relatively low capacity, maybe 7 or 8 or 9 rounds. And lots of times in a double stack 9mm, you have 16, 17, or 18 rounds. A lot of times in the 45, the recoil is significantly more than the 9mm. And then add to that, people have different philosophies. Sometimes the comfort that you have knowing that all of the power a person can possibly muster out of a handgun is within your grasp with the 45, or maybe you really like light and fast and you like knowing that you have double the rounds at the ready. So we will shoot a couple of rounds and see if we can't close that power gap and maybe influence the decision in the buying process. Now here's a close-up of these bullets. For comparison's sake, a 230 grain jacketed hollow point in 45 ACP. Our 185 grain jacketed hollow point standard pressure at about 900 feet per second, and our 124 grain plus P jacketed hollow point in 9mm. So first we'll shoot these over the chronograph and double check the actual power that we're getting out of them. First we'll shoot the 45 ACP with the standard pressure 185 grain jacketed hollow point. $956. Error. 1005. And 961. Now, for comparison's sake, we'll shoot the Full Metal Jacket 230 grain standard pressure. And 816. Now we'll shoot the plus P 124 grain jacketed hollow point from the 9mm. $11.96. $11.82. And $11.02. Okay, so we shot each of these rounds over the chronograph to measure their power. And if I did the math right, we got 386 foot-pounds out of the 185 grain 45 ACP. And we got 364 foot-pounds out of the 9mm. So within 20 foot-pounds on paper. For comparison's sake, the Full Metal Jacket had 360. So on paper, they seem very similar. We'll see if we can demonstrate any differences or similarities on some targets. So it's a little hard to see from a distance, so I'll bring you up close. I've got milk jugs stacked in a row, mostly, and for some sort of a simulation, I'm not sure, we got a ham in front. We'll shoot the 9mm at a stack of milk jugs, and we'll shoot the 45 at a stack of milk jugs, and we'll see if we can display energy transfer and any differences we might see. So this is 9mm jacketed hollow point, 124 grain at about 1150 feet per second. Okay, so blew a hole in our ham. One milk jug with some ham in it. 2 milk jugs. 3 milk jugs. And we have a bullet in the 4th. So we'll review the tape. We'll shoot another stack of milk jugs and see what the 45 does. And now the 45 ACP versus the Hammond water target. Okay, so again, hole in the ham, 1 milk jug, 2 milk jugs with quite a few fragments. I don't know if you can see those in there. You can hear them. Quite a few fragments in that first one. 3 with a split in the side. 4, 5, and all the way through. So we'll have to figure out a different way to catch these bullets. But clearly there's more penetration, even though we had a high pressure 9mm. Okay, we'll see what we can learn from shooting a harder target. We got 10 inches of paper stacked up with a couple of 2x4s behind it. We'll try and catch these bullets and learn what else we can. First, at the paper, I'm going to shoot the 45 ACP with the jacketed hollow point first, and then for comparison, the full metal jacket. Now the 9mm with the 124 grain plus P. Let's see what we got. So this is our stack of paper. We have 45s and we have 9mm. So let's see how far they went in. Wow, okay. That was fun. Let me dig them out. And here we have a close-up of the bullets. The 45 lost its jacket and fragmented completely. So did the 9mm. But even the 230 grain ball ammunition pretty well fragmented and flattened right out. And none of the rounds made it out of a 2-inch block of paper. So what did we learn today? Well, we learned several things. First, the 45 ACP is almost always significantly more powerful than the 9mm, even with low pressure, lightweight rounds versus relatively high weight, high pressure rounds in the 9mm. The 45 is still the clear winner. We also learned that numbers on paper don't always mean much. We are within 5 or 20 foot-pounds of energy on paper when we measure it. But when we start to shoot things like water jugs and game, we can find out there are significant differences in performance. We learned that jacketed hollow points versus hard targets don't work very well. If a person is shooting milk jugs and watermelons that are homogeneous, relatively liquid structures, you'll see bullets perform beautifully. When things start getting hit like shoulder bones and ribs or 2x4s in walls, you can start to see performances change. Sometimes bullets fragment, sometimes they ricochet and lose their energy and don't continue to penetrate. The 45 versus the 9mm into just a stack of paper didn't penetrate at all farther. Even the 230 grain ball ammunition didn't penetrate any farther. But we saw with the milk jugs more energy transfer and twice as much penetration. So with that, hopefully we showed you a few things to help influence your decision. The 9mm is, by almost all accounts, a perfectly adequate personal defense weapon. The 45 ACP is clearly an adequate weapon for personal defense. If a person was thinking about other things, personal defense while hunting, maybe cougars or bears, then sometimes things change. Needs change. But I would say at this point, we have displayed some of the power differences, and we tried to get as close as we could with the 9mm, and we showed it just doesn't ever quite reach the same threshold as the 45. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.